Hey Truth Seekers, it's Nathanael here to do a deck profile for our Universal and Faith deck. This deck we decided to use the rule of we had to use Aleks, and so for our Universal Truth Seeker, Aleks has the ability that says as long as your total score is less than 30 virtue points, you may have up to 5 Animo in your small group at a time. So Carol and I, we brainstormed a little bit and we came up with an idea to utilize that to its fullest potential. So start off with, we have 3 Fasting Power cards. This provides 2 Universal for us, or 1 Holy Spirit. We're going to be using it mostly for the 2 Universal. And we have 6 Faith Power cards because we discard our Faith Power cards with the Animo that we use. Alright. Moving on, we're going to talk about our story cards out here. I am using 3 fishing nets, which is draw 2 cards. If this was the last card in your hand, draw 4 cards instead. The goal to use this is to use this with Quillow Level 2 for Faith, because we can place up to 4 cards underneath Quillow Level 2, and then we're going to use fishing nets so that way we actually have more cards that we can use. To keep on theme with drawing cards, we're going to run the Rich Fool, which is draw the bottom 3 cards of your deck, which is going to be helpful in maintaining our hand size as we are feeding everything into Quillow Level 2. Then, because I'm reusing Faith and Universal, and neither of those have the ability to search for power cards, I am using Copper Coins, which is why I'm running more power cards than usual. Copper Coin says look at the top 7 cards of your deck, place up to 2 power cards you find there directly into your power pool, and shuffle your deck afterwards. Now, because we don't want to be discarding our power cards that we do find, we have Frankincense, which is if the animal to whom this card is attached to has any faith discard cost, they may convert it to a faith cost instead. And then, a lot of our animal are really cheap because they only cost 1. So we're going to use Broken Jar to increase their virtue points and increase their cost. So now they're going to cost 2, but instead of being worth 10, they're going to be worth, or instead of being worth 5, they're going to be worth 10. Then we're going to run 2 Paul's Chains so we can search out my Animo. My goal is to equip this to Mercifier. For my Cinnies, I have 1 Hookworm. Hookworm says as long as the Cinny is active, all your opponent's ammo require 1 extra Universal cost in order to be activated. Nash Tree says any Animo and any attached cards that remain in your opponent's small group on their following turn must be shuffled back into their deck. Fearcrow. Fearcrow says choose 1 level 2 or level 3 Animo from your opponent's small group. Revert that Animo back into a level 1 by having your opponent shuffle the growth stages for that Animo back into their deck. Split Appedator. When this card is revealed, your opponent must shuffle half the Animo in their small group back into their deck, rounding up. Narcy. Your opponent must flip over 1 Animo in their small group. They may not activate nor grow that Animo on their next turn. And Zapper King. Zapper King says your opponent may not play any level 1 Animo from their hand into their small group next turn. And Scorch Mega, which is a 16 defense Cinny. Now, I am going to point out, Alex's strength is that you're able to have more Animo into your small group. So I'm using Animo that affect the Animo in my opponent's small group. So that way, my strength becomes their weakness. Next up, we're going to be talking about our Animo. We run 3 Fetchy. So, Fetchy is a 1 for 5, but I have to discard that. So hopefully I can get my Frankincense, that way I don't have to discard. But a 1 for 5 is very strong. Then we have Pumpkindle, which is a 1 for 4. It has the ability to shuffle 3 cards back from your discard, or shuffle 3 cards from your discard pile back into your deck. So this is going to be helpful with getting our power cards back and any Animo that we need. Mayseal. Mayseal is a 1 for 5 that I have to discard the Faith card for. Action, you may return 1 story card from your discard pile back into your hand. That's going to help us get back our fishing nets. And then Armorino level 1 says, ability, once per turn this card is in your small group, you may place 1 Faith power card from your discard pile into your power pool. So this is how we're going to be able to get back our Faith as we're discarding it. And then for our win con, for our Faith side of things, we are using Quillow. Quillow's a 1 for 3, but grows into Quillow level 2, who is a 1/4/3 times. The ability says you may place up to 3 cards from your hand beneath this card and effectively out of play when activated. This card earns 3 virtue points for each card beneath this one. Discard those cards when this card is discarded. So the idea behind Quillow is that I'm going to grow, I'm going to use fishing nets, I'm going to put 4 cards underneath of it and then use fishing nets. Then I'm going to activate this for 12. Now with my, I can equip Broken Jar to it, and Broken Jar would increase him by 5, making him a 17. And I also run Alphalux ULTRA, which is going to also increase that virtue point value. So we are going to be manipulating our virtue points to the fullest ability, so that way we can get as many as possible. Okay. Next up we have Mercifier. So this deck does not have a whole lot of ability to search out the Animo they need. So a lot of our Animo are level 1, and we do have level 1 Quill that we need to search for our level 2. So we're going to be using Mercifier, who's a 2 for 7, which is really good value, but we're going to use that in conjunction with our other Animo, so that way we can equip Pulse Change to him, search out some more Animo, and then we're going to use his ability to go grab another Animo that we need. Or we can just activate him for 2 for 7. Next up, we have 3 Prayer Group. Because Prayer Group is really good, it has ×3 for question mark, which is you may activate this card using up to 3 of any power. When activate, this card is worth 3 virtue points for each power that is used to activate it. So this one could by itself be worth 18, or with a Broken Jar can be worth 23. Super strong, and we're definitely going to give this a try. And then lastly, our Ultra. Our Ultra, we're running 2 Alphalux ULTRA. He is a 3 for 10, which isn't super great value, but his ability says when this card is activated, any Animo also activating the same turn gains 2 virtue points. And the reason why we are choosing to do things this way is because we're going to pay 1 Aleks and 1 Fasting to activate him, and then all the Animo that we're going to activate after him are going to cost like 1 or 2. So that way we can maximize the value out of this guy's ability. That is the game plan for this deck. So in the meantime, True Seekers, keep learning virtues and defeating Sinnies.